Welcome back to the Willadelphia Show. I am your host, Will Barbera, and we have a ton to talk about today. The Eagles played their second preseason game over the weekend. How did it go? Who stood out? And have the positional battles gotten any clearer? Also, the Eagles GM with another reminder that it is always Howie season. Then, it's been a scary week for Phillies fans. After Jhoan Duran gave us a heart attack, the Phillies made a shocking statement about Zack Wheeler. What does it all mean for the Fightins and the rest of the season? And lastly, is Kyle Schwarber the National League MVP? We break down the impending free agents' chances at the coveted award. Thank you all once again for tuning in into the Willadelphia Show. I am Will Barbera, and let's get right into it, man. First off, the Eagles lost their second of three preseason games on Saturday to the Cleveland Browns by a final score of 22-13.
So the season is over.
This game was sloppy to watch. And I know you're thinking to yourself, Will, all preseason games are sloppy. Yeah, but this one was damn sloppy, all right? This one was really sloppy. After week one, where we watched Tanner McKee sling the rock all over the place and make Johnny Wilson and Darius Cooper look like Chris Carter and Randy Moss against the Bengals starters defensively, no less. I think people were excited to see how these other two quarterbacks would perform that are competing for third string, right? Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Kyle McCord combined to go 13 of 24 with 64 passing yards, a touchdown, and an interception. McCord had the better of the 2 days, completing 50% of his passes and throwing the only touchdown of the day to Ionis Smith. Look, it's preseason, and DTR is a career backup in a new offense, and McCord is a rookie getting his first taste of NFL action. I'm not saying I'm going to hold this performance against them, but this was very bad quarterback play. I've said it before, I'll say it again. There is nothing in this world that could make me not want to watch a football game, except for bad quarterback play. I felt like I was watching a Pee-wee game, but even in a Pee-wee football game, I bet a child would have known to just let this ball hit the ground. Like I said, two guys competing for the third string spot in a meaningless preseason game. I'm not indicting either of them, but if they continue to play like that, Howie Roseman and the quarterback factory may need to start looking for a new make and model. All right, let's just put it that way. Let's talk about the fun stuff, though. And the fun stuff are these young defensive studs. First-round pick Jhoan Campbell has looked real good in his first two preseason games. He had another sack on Saturday, which means he now has had one in each of his first two preseason games. This kid looks so explosive, man. It's insane to me that this guy was available for the defending champs to draft with the 31st pick. I know it's preseason, so once again, not fitting him for a gold jacket just yet. I hate it when people overreact and do stuff like that. But he certainly looks the part of an elite skill set as an edge rusher, and we have not even seen him play off-ball linebacker yet. If I get this excited thinking about all the ways that the Eagles can use him, I can only imagine how Vic Fangio feels, right? While I am still very excited for Jhoan Campbell, he's not the only rookie defender to get excited about after Saturday. Second-round pick Andrew Makuba had quite the debut in his first NFL action of any kind. He intercepted Browns quarterback Dylan Gabriel and returned it 75 yards for a house call. Oh, and then later he also recovered a fumble. Yes, it was quite impressive to watch, but you can tell who watched the game and who watched the highlights by how people are talking about this performance online. The kid looks like he could be a ball player and contributor from the get-go. Don't get me wrong. But he was not perfect by any means. Makuba whiffed on a few tackle attempts while trying to take down Cleveland's running back Pierre Strong more than once in the very short period of time that he was even on the field. Don't get me wrong, the good very much outweighs the bad in this performance, and everyone has a right to be excited. I'm excited, but this is still a rookie who needs to refine a few things around the edges. And one of my favorite things about the Eagles coaching staff is their ability to do just that. Do not be surprised if this kid is getting significant playing time next to Reed Blankenship at some point this season. Sidney Brown, meet your new competition. Last thing on the Birds. Did you really think Howie's season was over? It is never over, and when will you realize that? Yesterday, the Eagles acquired wide receiver John Mechie III from the Houston Texans in exchange for tight end Harrison Bryant and a 2026 fifth-round pick. This is a good trade by Howie Roseman. It is not a big trade, despite how some people are reacting online. This is the Eagles looking at their wide receiver group and realizing that they would like to be deeper at the position. Mechie is a 25-year-old second-round pick out of Alabama, about to enter the final year of his rookie contract. Mechie missed his entire rookie season while getting treatment for leukemia and made a full recovery. In 29 games with Houston, he had 40 receptions for 412 yards and 1 touchdown. What makes this a good trade is that the Eagles gave up virtually nothing to get him. Bryant was basically guaranteed to be a camp casualty, and the Eagles traded one of their 3 projected 5th-round picks in next year's draft to get a guy who hasn't really ever had a shot to get targets but has the talent to do so and has experience playing with Jalen Hurts, Landon Dickerson, and Devontae Smith. That's a damn good trade. It's always Howie season, whether you like it or not. Enough football. Let's talk Phillies baseball, all right? The Phillies split a series with the Washington Nationals over the weekend, and while they should have won the series, I think everyone is just glad the weekend is over, right? Rough weekend for Phillies fans. And if you're asking yourself, why is that? Let's start with what happened on Friday night, all right? Phillies have a 6-2 lead over the Nats going into the bottom of the 9th inning. Rob Thompson decides to bring in closer Jhoan Duran, despite the fact that this is not a save opportunity. While facing Paul DeJong, the Nats' first batter of the inning, Duran took a 101-mile-per-hour comebacker off his foot that deflected into foul territory. Duran quickly started to limp and then was carted off the field, not on a medical cart, but on this stupid-looking thing. Obviously, Phillies fans, known for being calm and reasonable, they didn't freak out.
Oh, somebody kill me, please! Somebody kill me, please!
Just kidding. Fans were sharpening their pitchforks and lighting their torches before David Robertson could even finish the very game Duran was pulled from. A few hours later, the Phillies announced that Duran's x-rays were negative, and then the next day he told reporters he was feeling 100%. Look, I get why Phillies fans were freaking out. We just traded for this guy, and he is really what makes us a World Series contender. I don't think the Phillies were real contenders until they acquired him at the deadline. Then we had to watch him be carted off the field in the dumbest-looking cart on planet Earth as a precaution, except we had absolutely no way of knowing that it was a precaution. I mean, I think it's pretty fair to assume that if someone gets carted off in this thing, that it's a career-ending injury. Either because of the pain from the injury itself or the sheer embarrassment of being seen in something that dumb-looking on national television. There was a collective exhale from the fan base, but there is this narrative out there that he should not have been in the game at all. And therefore, we should be mad at Rob Thompson for putting him in that position. Listen, I'm all for being mad at Rob Thompson. I've been doing it for one reason or another for the last 2.5 years. But that's a pretty dumb thing to be mad about, in my opinion. When Duran was traded here, Rob Thompson asked him the same question he asks every single new pitcher that joins this roster, and he asked it point blank. How many days can you go without pitching before you start to feel off? Duran's answer was 4. Friday night would have been the 5th day in a row that Duran would not have pitched. The Phillies could have been winning by 10 or losing by 50, and Duran would still have pitched in that game. Like it or not, Tomper did his job. It was just a bad break, and then obviously a pretty visceral overreaction from the fan base. Speaking of bad breaks, let's talk about the big news surrounding the Phillies. The Phillies placed their ace, Zack Wheeler, on the 15-day injury list on Saturday after finding a blood clot in his right upper extremity. We're talking right up here in this area, folks, in the shoulder area where he had been experiencing discomfort going back a few starts. He will undergo further testing, but as of right now, there is no timetable for his return. Let me start off by saying I wish Zack Wheeler a speedy recovery and that he is in my thoughts right now. This is not a wrist injury, right? This is a potentially life-altering event. This is a married man with kids. His health is not only important to us as fans and to the team, but to them as a family. So as much as it sucks that he's out, we all need to be backing and supporting number 45 right now. Right now, we have no idea how long this could keep him out. But if we look at some examples from other sports, we can begin to get kind of an idea, right? Last year, Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs was found to have several blood clots in his legs. He was held out for the remainder of the season as he recovered. Former Mets pitchers Matt Harvey in 2016 and Dylan Gee in 2012 were both found to have blood clots. They were both kept out for the remainder of the season. Now, some articles I've read have suggested anywhere between a 1-month and 10-month recovery, depending on the severity of the clot. The reality is, we as Phillies fans should be bracing for the worst, okay? There is a good chance that the Phillies will have to navigate the rest of this season and October without their best starting pitcher. I hope to God that I am wrong, okay? But purely speculating based on the evidence we have in front of us and other examples we can look to, this could take a while to recover from. The good news for the Phillies is if there is one thing that we have an influx of, it's starting pitchers. Although I'd feel a hell of a lot better about them if Aaron Nola hadn't allowed 6 runs in 3 innings in his first start back from the injured list yesterday, but that's neither here nor there. Sanchez has been dominant. Ranger has been good. Walker has been solid, and Luzardo has had his moments. You could certainly do a whole lot worse than the Phillies' current starting rotation. If Nola can get anywhere close back to his regular form, then the Phillies will have a shot. And even if he doesn't, could we see someone like Andrew Painter sometime soon? And even if that doesn't work out, we're talking about a 4-man rotation almost the entirety of the playoffs. So it's not like this tanks the Phillies season. We will continue to monitor the Zack Wheeler situation and get you any and all information as soon as it comes out. And I'm going to finish the show today by talking about something that is very pressing in my mind. Right here, okay? Look at me. If the Philadelphia Phillies do not pay Kyle Schwarber his freaking money, the city may actually burn, okay? And while I am just kidding about the city burning, I am not kidding that there are going to be some seriously angry people in Philadelphia, this guy included, if Dombrowski and Middleton don't make this guy a Philly for the rest of his career. But Will, he's a 32-year-old who's having a career season. Are you really willing to pay top dollar for someone whose underlying metrics aren't this good? I don't know if me just looking at this camera and saying yes is enough. So here's a clip of a stadium full of people chanting yes to get my point across. Let me tell you a couple of 3 things, okay? No player in MLB history has hit more home runs in their first 4 years with a team than the 174 that Kyle Schwarber has hit with the Philadelphia Phillies. He leads the National League with 43 home runs and 101 runs batted in, and there is a serious chance that he could break Ryan Howard's record of 58 home runs by a Philly set in 2006. And lastly, he is building a pretty serious MVP case, okay? Now, will he win the National League MVP award? It's a long shot. Ohtani is a higher slash line and is right on his tail in home runs. Plus, he's now getting back into the swing of things on the mound, even though he hasn't gone more than 4 innings in a start this season. It is unlikely that someone other than Ohtani wins this award. But if by some pure chance of fate, either Ohtani starts to falter at the end of the season, or the voters experience a little voter fatigue and Schwarber really ends the season just on a high note, then we may see Kyle Schwarber enter free agency as the reigning National League MVP. He will cost a pretty penny regardless of whether or not he wins this award. If the Phillies don't pony up, someone else will. I saw a tweet the other day that I thought summed this up pretty perfectly. John Middleton, either your wallet will hurt or your kneecaps will hurt, but Kyle Schwarber needs to be a Philly for life. There's only one thing left to say, and John Malkovich can say it a hell of a lot better than I can. Take it away.
Pay that man his money.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the Willadelphia Show once again. I am Will Barbera. How do you feel about the Eagles after Saturday? Do you think Thompson should have brought Duran in? Can the Phillies make a title run if they don't have Zack Wheeler? And what do you think Kyle Schwarber's contract will look like? Let me know all of that and more in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Willadelphia Sports for all the newest on the Eagles, Phillies, 76ers, and Flyers. I'm Will Barbera once again. We'll see you next time. Go Birds and a kabooyah!